I'm Terrence Kommal with the world-renowned management philosopher Sri MK Angajan from India. Thank you so much for making the time with us today.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. It's great to be here. I'm very delighted to be talking to you today.
Thanks so much. I want to explore very quickly the topic of effective strategies for companies. And just in my experience, having been in a range of entities, but particularly in the public sector, which has the largest impact on people, especially when you're spending public money, a lot of these entities create a formalistic structure. So when you ask for the strategy, you get a 30-page document. They tell you we've got 6 different pillars. This is the entry point. That's the exit point. Here's our input, output, outcome. And we start ticking boxes. And what perturbed me in some of these entities is when you look at their actual outcome, they pay management for not doing very much. They create formalistic tick boxes in these strategies. And something that really worried me is a lot of my colleagues, when you get so absorbed in the detail of the strategy, so in pillar 1 you could have 20 tick boxes, the focus is on ticking the box as opposed to what are we supposed to be doing with this process. Then if you look at the total overview, if I sat back at the end of the year and the staff came in and asked for a bonus, my focus would be, have we effectively delivered what we're mandated to do? And if that answer is we haven't done it as effectively and efficiently as we can, we must have on. I don't care how we've ticked the formalistic KPI boxes. Maybe you could share your thoughts with me on that, because I find that a lot of times this formalism of compliance takes precedence over what are we actually doing as sustainable and ethics-based businesses.
Okay. I think the bottom line of strategy is about producing the maximum result for the stakeholders, maximum benefit and maximum happiness for the stakeholders with the minimum and the most cost-effective way that's possible. All right. So in order to achieve maximum result, maximum happiness for the stakeholders with the minimum resources, minimum time, minimum expenses to produce that, we got to focus upon again about the purpose of the organization. People often talk about, it's a widely accepted jargon. You don't work hard, you work smart, all right, which is good. But I would think we need to go one step higher. Moving from working hard to working smart, now we need to move from working smart to working wisely. All right. So when we shift from working smart to working wisely, there are a lot of people try to work smart. All right. In the process of working smart, they compromise the ethics like we spoke about earlier. So working wisely means we still keep the ethics and morality element effectively and make sure that we use the minimum resources. And to be able to do that, again, we got to go back to our inner self. Every one of us are born with an incredibly powerful faculty called the intellect. And I'm talking about the intellect. Let me go one step further. We as human beings, we have the body. Beyond the body, we have the mind. Beyond the mind, you have the intellect. And apart from the intellect, we have the ego. All right. So the intellect is the discriminating faculty. Now, to be able to be very strategic effectively, we got to operate on reason rather than operating on emotion, speaking very generically. To be a bit more specific, operating on reason is that I would call the 3 S's of effective productivity, producing result. I would call the speed, strength, and strategy. Speed means how quickly we are able to make effective decision, right? And at the same time, make sure that we are compliant. Some people, they drag their feet, they keep dragging their coming to a conclusion. They're not quick enough. Some of the people are very brilliant in their decision making. I remember reading a very interesting article about Lakshmi Mittal. He's the steel tycoon of the world. So when he came to South Africa, maybe about 10 or 15 years before, to buy the Escort, and of course he did the analysis, etc. before. Apparently, he made the decision within 3 minutes. Sure. Speed, how quick it is. And then the second thing is strength. Strength means your ability to control your emotions. People have a tendency to react with emotion rather than responding with reason. Right? So your ability to control the temptation, control your selfishness, That is their strength. And the third thing is strategy. Speed, strength, and strategy. Strategy comes, as I defined earlier, to produce maximum output, maximum result with the minimum resources. All right. So how do you do that? There is no standard formula. It changes from industry to industry, situation to situation. But the bottom line is this: number one, you got to produce the maximum result, maximum happiness with the minimum resources. We got to use our reasoning faculty.
Yes. In terms of the effective strategies, what are the key things we as leaders should be looking out for to make sure not only do we stay aligned with strategy, but we create good strategies for our organizations?
Good strategy for our organizations. I would think, we need to make sure that the stakeholders should be part of the decision making. Very often, I'm sure you've come across people, the organization, I've come across many. It's always bottom line, top to bottom strategy, right? But I would think it should be lateral in the sense that all the stakeholders should be, or at least the representatives of the stakeholders should be decision making. How often you come across the employees are not part of the strategy, The employees, they think, okay, we make the decision, you do the job. That shouldn't be the case, but you got to make them as a stakeholder so that we win their heart, we win their buy-in. Otherwise, if you make the best strategy, if you don't win their heart, their action won't be there. Their body and the thinking will not be where their heart is. Their heart will be their body and the thinking will be with the organization, but their heart will be somewhere else. So we won't get the productivity and efficiency.
Yes, I agree. Thank you so much on this one.